Your phone buzzes. You pick it up before you even decide to. Your thumb is already moving. You haven't thought about it at all. You tell yourself it's just a habit, a modern problem born from modern technology. But the real answer is far stranger. The urge in your hand is not new. It is 2 million years old, and it has almost nothing to do with the phone itself. To understand it, you have to go back. Not to the invention of the smartphone, not even to the invention of the internet. You have to go back to the African savannah long before language, long before fire was tamed, when your ancestors lived in small, wandering bands of 20 to 50 people. Survival out there didn't just depend on strength, it depended on information. Who was angry at whom? Who could be trusted? Who had food? Who had enemies? Who had shifted alliance overnight? Missing that information could get you exiled from the group. And out there, alone, exile usually meant death. So your ancestors evolved a brain that craved social updates the way it craved food and water, not as a luxury, as a survival tool. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent years studying primate social groups and found something remarkable. The size of a species' social group correlates directly with the size of its neocortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex thought. Bigger groups need more brain power because tracking relationships is a genuinely difficult cognitive task. Dunbar proposed that humans evolved gossip as a kind of social grooming, a way of maintaining bonds across a group too large for everyone to physically groom one another, the way chimpanzees do for hours a day. Gossip, in other words, isn't a character flaw. It's a survival mechanism with deep evolutionary roots. Your brain is wired to want to know what's happening with the people around you, constantly, compulsively, because for most of human history, not knowing could cost you your life. Now look at your phone again. Every notification is a tiny piece of social information. Someone liked something, someone commented, someone is talking about you, or near you, or about something that affects you. Your ancient brain doesn't know the difference between a text from a friend and a warning about a predator near the watering hole. It just knows this might matter. Check it. But knowing why you want to check isn't the whole story. There's something even stranger happening underneath that urge. Something that explains why you check far more than you'd ever need to for pure survival. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner ran an experiment with pigeons that would end up explaining your relationship with your phone almost a century before it existed. He placed pigeons in a box and gave them food at random intervals when they pecked a lever. Not every peck, not on a schedule, randomly. Here's the strange part. The pigeons that received food at unpredictable intervals pecked the lever far more obsessively than pigeons who got food every single time they pecked. Predictable reward led to predictable behavior. Unpredictable reward led to compulsive, almost desperate repetition. Skinner called this variable ratio reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that powers slot machines. You don't know if this pull will be the one, so you pull again and again. Your phone runs on the exact same principle. You don't know if this refresh will bring something interesting, a message, a like, a piece of news that matters. Most of the time, it won't, but sometimes it will. And that unpredictability is precisely what keeps your thumb moving. This is where it gets even stranger, because the reward you're chasing isn't actually pleasure, not in the way you'd think. In the 1990s, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz was studying dopamine in monkeys and discovered something that overturned decades of assumptions. Dopamine doesn't spike when you receive a reward. It spikes in anticipation of a reward, especially when that reward is uncertain. Schultz found that dopamine neurons fire most intensely, not at the moment of getting something good, but in the moment just before, when the outcome is still unknown. That means the most powerful part of checking your phone isn't actually seeing the notification. It's the half second before you see it, the not knowing. Your brain has essentially built an engine that runs on anticipation, and your phone, completely by accident of design, has become the most efficient anticipation generating device in human history. Think about what that means. You're not addicted to your phone the way you might be addicted to sugar or nicotine, chasing a chemical hit after the fact. You're addicted to the question mark, the brief, electric uncertainty of what's behind the screen. Your ancestors felt that same uncertainty scanning the grass for movement, wondering if it was wind or something with teeth. Your brain hasn't updated the software. It's still running the same ancient program, just pointed at a different target. There's a researcher who put this in stark physiological terms. The biologist Robert Sapolsky, who has spent decades studying stress in primates, has shown that the body's stress response isn't triggered primarily by danger itself. It's triggered by uncertainty and lack of control. A predictable threat causes less physiological stress than an unpredictable one. Your phone sitting silently on the table is a small, unresolved question, generating a quiet current of unease until you check it. Checking it isn't really about wanting information. It's about resolving the discomfort of not having it. So every time you reach for your phone without meaning to, you're not weak and you're not broken. You're running software built for a world of 20 to 50 people. A world where every piece of social information could mean the difference between belonging and exile, between safety and a predator in the grass. Nobody designed your brain to handle a device that can deliver 1,000 of those uncertain little signals a day. Your ancestors got maybe one or two genuinely important pieces of social news a week. And the people building these apps know this. They aren't guessing. Product teams have studied Skinner's pigeons. They've studied Schultz's monkeys. Features like the pull to refresh gesture, the slight delay before a notification loads, the red dot that gives no information except that something, somewhere, requires your attention. All of it is engineered around the same mechanism that made a pigeon peck a lever until it was exhausted. Here's the part that should change how you see your own behavior. Once you know the urge isn't really about the content on the screen, you can start to interrupt it differently. You're not failing to resist a desire for information. You're responding to an ancient alarm system that doesn't know it's gone off 2,000 times today instead of twice a week. Naming the mechanism takes some of the power out of it. It's harder to feel ashamed of a reflex once you understand it isn't a flaw, it's an inheritance. You can't switch off 2 million years of evolution by deciding to have more willpower, but you can change the environment that triggers it. Turning off non-essential notifications doesn't fight your nature, it works with it, removing the random little cues your ancient brain was never built to ignore. Putting your phone in another room while you work isn't a productivity hack. It's evolutionary common sense, the same instinct that once made your ancestors put real distance between themselves and a source of constant, low-grade alarm. Your phone buzzes again. You pick it up before you even decide to. Your thumb is already moving, but this time you know exactly why.